The Dodgers have been linked to free agent pitcher Yadier Rodriguez. They've also been linked to closer Josh Hader. We got all the latest Dodgers news and rumors coming up next here on Dodgers Dugout.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Mookie Betts cranks him left field.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. I don't care how many times this team rips my heart out, I'll never stop loving the Los Angeles Dodgers. Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. My friends call me DMAC, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on the X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. As always, I'm looking for your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day: do you want to see the Dodgers sign Yadier Rodriguez? Should they seriously consider signing Josh Hader as a backup option? What are your takes on Dylan Cease? Should they still go all in on Dylan Cease? They're reportedly very aggressive right now in trying to land him through via trade. Let me know down below. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So yes, Shohei Ohtani, he is the grand prize this offseason, and Ohtani watch continues. The baseball world is waiting for him to make his decision. Then when he ultimately does, you are going to see a flurry of signings because he is the biggest domino that we're waiting to fall. But there are a ton of free agents out there that the Dodgers, one, have been linked to, two, have shown interest in, and three, could also help this team win the World Series next year, even if they don't sign Shohei Ohtani. Or if they do sign Ohtani, they're still going to be active on the market. And you look at this team last season, starting pitching, it was one of the worst we've seen in LA for quite some time. A lot of that had to do with injuries. A lot of that had to do with young players getting opportunities. But the bullpen, they got off to a tough start, and then they pulled things together. Once Ryan Brazier was entered into that bullpen, everyone started to calm down and stabilize. But they could look to add some bullpen pieces as well. And the first thing we're going to discuss today is free agent pitcher Yadier Rodriguez. And the Dodgers have been linked to him. They're one of several teams that are interested in the Cuban pitcher. ESPN's Jeff Passan wrote in a recent piece, evaluators who have seen him throw since Chunichi released him from his contract say the 6'1", 164-pound Rodriguez has an imposing presence. His fastball sits around 96 miles per hour and touches 99, and his spin, which nears 2,600 RPMs, would place him above the 95th percentile in all of baseball. He's got a mighty slider, too, that spins around 2,900 RPMs, which would be among the 10 best in all of MLB. So he also mentioned that getting someone at Rodriguez's age with his stuff appeals to many teams. So, of course, the Dodgers, they're going to be interested in any player that can help them win, especially at the right price. And if you look at the kind of contract that Rodriguez could fetch right now, MLB trade rumors, they predict that he's going to sign a 4-year, $32 million deal. Fangraphs has him at 3 years, $30 million. So you're looking at that $30 to $35 million range for a guy that could be a starter occasionally. When you look at his pitch mix, when you look at what he did in the WBC, it's absolutely a possibility. But I think he profiles more as an elite high-leverage reliever. I think that would be the ideal scenario because when he's a starter, the velocity dips. When he comes out of the bullpen, that velocity is consistent and it's lethal. Now, just to rewind a little bit, in 2022, that fastball, it jumped from 92 to 93 miles per hour to 94 to 96 miles per hour. It topped out at 100. And why was that? Why did you see the velocity increase? It's because he came out of the bullpen. And when he was a starter in the MPB, you had some mixed results. You had a FIP that was near 5. The velocity, like I said, was trending in the wrong direction. But we moved to the bullpen. He did have more success consistently. You look at the year he had in 2022 for the Dragons of the MPB. He posted a 1.15 ERA in 54 and 2/3 innings of work, had a 27.5 strikeout rate, and an 8.3 walk rate. So you definitely want to see him lower that walk rate, but a 27.5% K percentage, that's definitely impressive. You'll probably see that number go up. Usually that tends to happen. When you go for the MPB to the show, you'll increase your strikeout rate. Now, after a successful 2022 season, he did attempt to go to the show, but his team in the MPB, the Chunichi Dragons, they weren't for it. They said he was still under contract, that the contract was still valid, and ultimately placed him on the restricted list. And we didn't see him until October when he had a showcase in the Dominican Republic. You had tons of teams there in attendance and made it known that, hey, he wants to pitch this year in the show. Also, you may remember him from the WBC. He pitched very well in the World Baseball Classic for Cuba, where he started 2 games, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, pitched 7 1/3 innings, had a 2.45 ERA, a 1.5 WHIP. Opponents hit 200, and that was definitely a successful showing. It also proved that, hey, this guy can be more than just a bullpen piece. Maybe he could start at the big league level. Only issue, like I said, 2021, last time he tried that in Japan, he had a FIP close to 5. The velocity trends in the wrong direction. And for him to be optimized, I think you want to see him come out of the pen. I think that's where he's best utilized. And I think ultimately that's how teams will view him. Fangraphs, they compared him to Pete Fairbanks. So he's someone that definitely has high upside. And look, the way the game is trending, you need high leverage relievers. You need those firemen that can come out in big situations. And yes, absolutely, he could do that for this Dodgers team. Now, you have Evan Phillips, you have Brusdar Graterol, you have some pieces in this bullpen. You haven't brought back Joe Kelly. Maybe they'll consider doing that. But maybe they look at Rodriguez and say, hey, okay, this is a piece. And depending on how things work out with Shohei Ohtani, with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, if they do get a Blake Snell or a Jordan Montgomery, if they are able to trade for a Dylan Cease or a Corbin Burns, one of those types, and if they do, maybe this is less likely. If they don't, and they have plenty of money to spend, which they absolutely do, when you look at their payroll where it stands right now, they're not even close to that $237 million CBT. You don't have a ton of contracts on the books after 2024. Nothing past Freddie and Mookie as far as big dollar deals. So, yeah, this is not a ton of money for a Dodgers team. I'm not saying it's a drop in the bucket, but, hey, if you think this guy can be a lethal weapon for you, maybe you do consider it. I don't think it's likely. I think that this is an organization that has proven to us that they're willing to get bullpen pieces either through reclamation projects where they think they can fix a player on a 1-year deal, on a minor league contract. Just look what they did with Alex Reyes. Yes, sometimes they just shop it on the dollar menu and it isn't good, doesn't work out. But then look at Evan Phillips, right? Look at Ryan Brazier last year. Look at Chris Martin, who they traded for in 2022. I'm confident that this team can fix a bullpen either through short-term deals, trades, picking up minor league guys. I'm not overly concerned about this bullpen. And plus, when you consider the pieces that they do still have, they're going to have a strong bullpen, but maybe you want to take it to a whole nother level. And if you see the upside in Rodriguez, who you can flex out and use in a multi-inning reliever role, he also provides you that value. So, yeah, there are some pros, there are some cons. I definitely think that this Dodgers team, they could get him at a pretty reasonable rate and they strike out on their other top targets. Maybe it's a possibility. I just don't think it's highly likely. It would not shock me, but I think that you would have to strike out on plan A and plan B and plan C. And look, maybe you bring back a Joe Kelly. I think they're looking for shorter-term deals. I think the market for Rodriguez is going to be higher. I think he's filthy. I would love to have him in Dodger Blue. He's not proven in the show like we would like to see, but still, this is someone that the eye test, how he performed at the WBC, how he performed in the MPB when he was at his best. Like Jeff Passan pointed out, the spin rates, the fastball velocity, all that stuff is going to play up on the highest level in the major leagues. It's just a matter of he's got a ton of suitors. He's not going to come cheap. You're definitely going to have to pay a premium for him. And this team right now, this Dodgers team, they're focused on starting pitching, true starting pitching. Guys can go 90 pitches, right? Guys that velocity doesn't trend in the wrong direction the more pitches they throw. So it's a very interesting thought. It's definitely a luxury item at this point. I'm definitely not against it at the right price, but I just think that we need to take care of the most important things. Like I said, it's like buying a Porsche. We don't have a functioning toilet. Right now, the rotation, we don't have a functioning toilet, right? as far as a full, complete rotation. There's talent there. There's Bobby Miller, who's great, who I think is going to emerge. I think he's going to continue to take steps in the right direction. Walker Buehler coming back after a second arm surgery. That's definitely something we're going to have to monitor, whether or not they're going to have him on a little bit of a pitch count early on, which general manager Brandon Gomes has already hinted at. But you need that elite frontline starting pitching before we can kind of discuss this. Now, another high-leverage bullpen piece that has been linked to the Dodgers is the highest leverage bullpen piece available in the game. None other than Josh Hader. MLB.com's Mark Feinsand, he wrote in his latest piece, the Dodgers had the second lowest bullpen ERA in the National League last season, and although Evan Phillips and Brusdar Graterol have been outstanding, the issues in the starting rotation could prompt Los Angeles to form a super bullpen. Adding Hader into the mix would accomplish exactly that, taking some of the pressure off of the starters in the process. Now, first question, how much would Josh Hader cost? The answer, look at the predictions across the board. It's well over $100 million. MLB Trade Rumors has him at $110 million. So he would break Edwin Diaz's record for a reliever. And yes, Josh Hader absolutely still has it at this stage of his career. He was great last year at a 1.28 ERA in 56 1/3 innings of work, had a 36.8 strikeout rate. You look at the whiff rate, close to 15%. He was very dominant. He was lights out. He was the Josh Hader that we've come to know over the past couple of seasons, even in his Milwaukee days when he had a strikeout rate at 47.8%, right? So he's not that guy, but still, he's still elite at this stage of his career. Now, the difference between Hader at this point of his career versus today is that he's a true closer, right? He's someone that's going to go out there and pitch one inning. He's not that multi-inning reliever like we saw in 2018, like we saw in his stretch with the Milwaukee Brewers. If you look at his closer's role at the moment, he hasn't pitched more than one inning in a regular season game since 2019. He has a 91.2% closer success rate with 103 saves in his last 113 save opportunities over the last 3 years. So he really is just the top of the market, top shelf closer in the game right now. He's effective against lefties and righties. He's going to help any team out there that signs him. Will that be the Dodgers? I think like Mark Feinsand said, he hit the nail on the head right there, is if you strike out on starting pitching and you're looking for any way to improve this roster and spend big, well, Hader's the guy that you could give that money to. Now, you gave Kenley Jansen that $80 million contract, but I don't know what message Kenley Jansen's trying to send by driving his Lamborghini around Dodger Stadium. Probably listen to California Love. I'm not so sure why he's over there posting IG pics, trying to thirst. I don't know what he was trying to do with his little Lamborghini photo shoot at Dodger Stadium, but the Dodgers have not gone that big on a bullpen piece in quite some time. Of course, since they gave Kenley that $80 million deal. Will they do that with Josh Hader? I'm not so sure. Remember, they're just a year removed from when Hader posted a 5.22 ERA in 2022. So was that the outlier? Was that just a down year? Was that a little blip on the radar? It's possible. A little glitch in the matrix season for Josh Hader, but still, I do think that this is a team in the Dodgers that want to focus all their resources on starting pitching, on an elite bat in Shohei Ohtani. Hader, he's someone that I just don't think they're seriously consider giving over $100 million to. I just think that they still have Evan Phillips, who has established himself as one of the best relievers in the game. Look how you found him from Tampa Bay, right? Look how you found Brusdar Graterol. The scouting and development that's inside this Dodgers organization allows them to not have to spend money on a Josh Hader, right? It allows them to go out there and find the next diamond in the rough. And yes, at some point you want to spend big, but if you look at Joe Kelly, some guys they could bring back on cheaper deals, there's just so much volatility when it comes to relievers on a year-by-year basis that last 3 years of that deal, last 2 years of that deal, I don't think I'd feel that great about. I don't think this team is going to win or lose a World Series next year based on having a lights-out closer. I think it's much deeper than that. I think you have to focus on the root of their issues, which was an ERA of over 25 in the NLDS injuries, an offense that absolutely fell asleep and didn't show up in the NLDS. So, yeah, it's definitely way down my list. I see what Mark Feinstein's trying to say. I'm going to give this one a 1 Dodger dog. I just don't think Josh Hader makes too much sense for the Dodgers. It definitely would shock me, and I think it would be an indicator that they missed out on their top targets, right? Some of the starting pitchers available, some of the starting pitchers via trade, and yeah, that's a lot of money to give to a closer. But I will say he's going to set a record for relievers, and this is the organization that set a record with Kevin Brown when they signed him. First guy over $100 million. Set a record with Clayton Kershaw. First pitcher over $200 million. So hopefully they set a record with Shohei Ohtani. First player over $500 million, right? So this is an organization that has proven that they're willing to spend big and set records when it comes to contracts. I just don't think it's going to be for Josh Hader. It's a fun thought. I would love me a lights out bullpen, right? But I still like the pieces we have now. And like I said, need to focus on the positions where they have to prioritize starting pitching, impact bats. But found it very interesting. Now, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Ken Rosenthal is saying the Dodgers are among the most aggressive teams for Dylan Cease. Now, my question there is it just for Dylan Cease? Or are they looking at a true mega deal blockbuster that includes Dylan Cease and Luis Robert? Because we've seen this Dodgers team in the past. Look at the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner deal. They like to get bang for their buck. They like to get value. And if everyone is truly available in that White Sox organization, Luis Robert is an impact bat. Could you include a Max Muncy, right? Could you include who just has that new deal that has a option attached to it, right? Could you include a Bush, a Vargas, a Stone, a Cartaya, a mega package for that possibility? I don't know if that's likely, but it makes you wonder, because if it's just for Dylan Cease, does the aggression just come with including more top prospects, including more names, maybe an Emmett Sheehan, maybe a Ryan Pepio, just really starting to include those top guys that they would rather keep in their organization, a Josue, DePaula, names like that? Or are the White Sox really just trying to maximize their return? Because it's going to be very competitive. You've heard the Braves, the Dodgers, teams that are perennial World Series contenders that are trying to get him. Dodgers have a lot of prospects. And like I said, at some point they're going to cash in on some of them. I would be shocked if they did not make a impact trade this offseason for a starting pitcher. Dylan Cease feels like the guy. You love the fact he's under 2 years of team control. You love the fact that he's nasty. He's got top shelf stuff. It's just really harnessing and getting him back to closer to where he was in 2022. So it does feel like they're hot on Dylan Cease. It does feel like there's a bigger chance of Cease than Burns right now. It's just about closing on Ohtani, closing on Cease, trying to finally make some moves. So I know it's very, very nerve-wracking. I know you're impatient. I know you want to see some activity. But look, that's just the nature of this business. It's a process. You have multiple teams that are trading prospects for big name players, right? It's not as easy as other sports, right? A lot more goes into it when it comes to scouting and how these players are unknown and just the negotiations of it all. And we got an update just now. MLB insider John Morosi tweeted out, sources, Dylan Cease trade talks have intensified in the last 48 hours, and some people close to the negotiations believe a deal before the winter meetings is increasingly possible. Cease's hometown Braves are among the finalists. So, yeah, I've been on the Dylan Cease trade since the summertime. If you want to go back, I hope it's the Dodgers, and really one of the reasons why is it's 2 years of team control. They need protection for the 2025 rotation. There's no guarantees they're going to get Ohtani. There's no guarantees that Ohtani's going to come back and pitch like a frontline starter. There's no guarantees that Walker Buehler is or that he's going to be back. So you need to start thinking about next year and beyond when it comes to fortifying this rotation. And you have 2 years of Dylan Cease in the prime of his career. I know there's people out there that think that 2022 was an outlier season. I still think he's somewhere in between. I still think he's one of the best 10 to 20 starters on the planet right now. I think he's absolutely someone that can help this rotation. I love the upside. I think what he can do within this Dodgers organization with Dr. Mike Pryor, Connor McGinnis, and this Dodgers pitching development staff is going to unlock him and get him back to where he needs to be. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they can pull off a deal for Cease. But based on what Morosi is saying, that it could happen before the winter meetings. Now, I am going to have John Morosi on this show hopefully later this week, if not at some point during the winter meetings, but hopefully we hear from him and hopefully we get some big news about a Dylan Cease trade. But it does feel like this is one of the first mega trades to go down in the offseason. Will it be the Dodgers? Are the Dodgers a finalist? We don't know that of yet, but only team we know that is a finalist is his hometown team, the Atlanta Braves, a team that the Dodgers could be chasing for the World Series in the National League next season. So you have to also factor that in as well. We're going to get some moves, I promise you. I know you're thinking of the meme where he's poking the thing, saying, do something, do something. Yeah, that's where the Dodgers are at right now, but I guarantee you they are doing something. They are active right now. It's just you're not seeing the news, but they are laying the groundwork. You're seeing back and forth, probably exchanging names, probably really cross midfield on a lot of this stuff, and hopefully they'll get into the red zone soon and punch it in to the end zone, and we'll see some action, and we'll get some news very shortly here. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to do me a huge favor. Join the party. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.